I'm living the life that I envisioned when I was 23. So it moved me to the thought of what is preventing me from seeing that, and what is making me so stressed out about the next vision when I wasn't stressed about this vision that I've accomplished now. And I realized the key is optimism. And while I just read the definition of optimism, that is from Merriam-Webster, I created my own definition of optimism and what it means to me. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, family, to Tea Time Podcast by Atia J. This is your self-help, spiritual podcast, uplifting topics we all love to avoid, but we definitely need to conquer. Tea time is your moment to pause, listen, and absorb what is soothing to you. I'm Atia J, aka Tia, a certified holistic life coach, and this idea was sparked by my passion to help others discover their latent potential, purpose, and significance, especially if you are one who feels overlooked, alone, or forgotten. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. I see you and I feel you. Welcome to Tea Time Podcast. Enjoy the tea. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome everyone to another episode of Tea Time Podcast. It's your girl Tia, aka Atia J, aka TT. And at Tea Time, we talk things that maybe we don't really want to speak about all the time. We try to get vulnerable. We get into our introvert bag, take out of it, and express it. And I am very grateful for each and every one of you who are listening or watching, for your continued support of my podcast. I am excited to be moving on to a 4th season soon. I'm going to have about 2 more episodes, including this one, of the podcast to reach 30 episodes in total of season 3. And then I will end the season for a break, and you will see what that break is about eventually. And I'm hopefully going to return to a season 4 later this year. In between, I do plan to get into my music mixing bag, and I want to, on the podcast platform, just share my music mixes. I want to share healing playlists that I am organizing and curating just for your ears, so that you can kind of have healing vibes and different energies throughout your day. These mixes will be posted on the podcast. I'm not sure how frequently, to be honest, because life is busy. This podcast episode itself was supposed to come out a few days ago, but I am actually happy that it did not, because I had a beautiful experience in my morning routine this morning that actually led me to the content of this podcast today. So, with all of that being said, do not forget to support the podcast. You can support by going to anchor.fm/Tea Time Podcast. You can become a monthly supporter by donating whatever you want to the podcast monthly. That is very helpful for me because it helps my efforts. It helps me to pay for things like this microphone. It helps me to pay for things like the camera equipment that I may need. Not only that, but it just feels good that I am giving you value enough that you would give something of value back to me. So I appreciate each and every one of you, those who have supported, those who will support. Thank you so much. Also, don't forget to go to acourseofaction.com/shop by Atia J, and you can actually purchase a mug, a Tea Time Podcast mug there, and support that way as well. So thank you all. Let's get into the episode. Today, I want to talk about optimism and my journey of getting my optimism back. I realized this morning while journaling that I'm actually on a journey towards optimism. And this is something that was a revelation to me because I, in my past, have been an extremely optimistic person about my experiences, about the difficulties I've faced, about the things that I wanted to do. I've always been optimistic which means basically I'm open-minded, right? Optimism, let's look up a specific definition. Optimism is an inclination to put the most favorable construction upon actions and events, or to anticipate the best possible outcome. So I have always been that type of person in my past. I've been the optimist who just sees the best in each and every one of my experiences. I would envision something that may seem impossible, but I know that I'm going to get it just because of the optimism that I believe I was just naturally born with. My life hasn't been peaches and cream, and next season we'll get into that some more. However, I have always had this idea that things are going to work out for me. And honestly, I would say that I get that from my mother. I'm not sure if she considers herself an optimist. However, just the way that she functions in the world and the way that she worked to take care of me and my sisters growing up, she taught me that optimism is the way that I should think about life, because she, despite every single challenge she faced, was able to make sure that we were in extracurricular activities, we ate every single day, and also that we had shelter. And that was all despite the difficulty that she has been through, and despite the difficulty we went through as a family, and her as a single mother raising 3 little girls. So in that aspect, I have to admit, I'm no longer that optimistic person that I used to be. I can't really tell you. When I think about it, I would say that when I was experiencing being a flight attendant and flying around the world, I gave all of my energy and attention to hanging out, to friends, to traveling, to just living my best life. It wasn't my best life. I gave all of my energy to living a life forgetting and forsaking myself. I can see that now. And I believe that through those experiences, I lost some parts of who I am. Not that I can't get them back, because I believe I'm on the path to getting them back. However, I lost some parts of who I am in that moment, and optimism is a huge piece of me that drove me to even be able to be a flight attendant who's able to travel the world when she wants to. So optimism, I am realizing just through journaling and what came to my mind today, that it's something that I need to retrieve. I need to get it back, because it's important for my drive. It's important for my vision. It's important for what I do with my daughter, with my husband. It's important for building a family, and it makes me happy. I enjoy being that optimistic, bright-eyed, open-minded person, because that brings me joy. It makes me happy. It relieves the stress of life, especially life right now with all the politics and all of the inflation and all of the war going on in the world. And for those of us who know, the end of this world and the establishment of a new one. And while journaling, I started this train of thought because I asked myself the question to begin: what should I be focusing on right now? And I wrote in my journal that there are so many things that I want to do. There are things I want to do for myself. There are things that I want to do for my family and our legacy. There are things that I want to do for my daughter. There are things that I want to do for my health. There are things that I want to do for the house. There are things that I want to do for the podcast. There are things I want to do with photography, life coaching. There are so many things that I need to do, that I want to do. There are skills that I need to build as a wife. There are skills that I need to build as a mother. There are so many things I want to do, not to mention all of the 20 million, thousand, trillion things that social media, whenever I click into it or try to post, tells me I need to do in order to be living my best life. There are so many things, and those concepts fighting and boggling my mind have been causing me immense stress. And it's a stress that I've kind of just been living with. So it's a stress that at certain points it develops and deteriorates into a depression to where I don't even want to, see anyone for a day or for a week. And that's why I asked myself the question, what should I be focusing on right now? And as I continue to journal about everything I want to do, I thought about all of the amazing things that I already have done in my past. I'm an entire wife and mother and able to kind of have the flexibility to function in my own time. And that was something, when I think back, that was something that I wanted, right? That's something I didn't know I would get at this time, but it is something that I was optimistic about achieving back when I was 23. And now at almost 29 now, when I look positively and optimistically at my situation, I can proudly say and be grateful to God for the fact that I'm living the life that I envisioned when I was 23. So it moved me to the thought of what is preventing me from seeing that, and what is making me so stressed out about the next vision when I wasn't stressed about this vision that I've accomplished now. And I realized the key is optimism. And while I just read the definition of optimism, that is from Merriam-Webster, I created my own definition of optimism and what it means to me. And that definition of optimism has to do with total and complete trust in God. When I was 21, when I was 20, when I was in college, I had a very faithful, a very strong trust in God and what He had planned for me. And perhaps it's because I hadn't yet faced the personal or financial difficulties in life. And honestly, it's perhaps because I had every piece of myself. I hadn't yet let myself go to the world. I hadn't yet let myself be caught up in other not people specifically, but be caught up in other lifestyles that were not conducive. Is that the word? Cohesive with my own. Right? So perhaps that optimism or trust that I had in God was there because I hadn't let it go. And so optimism to me is a complete and total trust in God and what He has planned for me. And also that if I ask Him anything, He will grant it to me within reason. And He will grant it to me if it is something that is righteous and not offensive, right? So I believed that, but I can't sit here and say today, honestly, that I still believe that. But in this journal and my thought process this morning, I realized that 2023, my resolution is to get back to my optimism. My resolution is to believe and have total faith and trust in Allah, a God, again, the Creator. Why? Because there are so many things that I need and want to do. However, if I'm focused on those things and me in myself making it happen, I cannot uphold all the standards I need to meet. I won't be able to do that. But if I give it to God, if I trust in God, then I'm able to be more present, right? I'm able to be more optimistic and be more joyful about what I do have, recognize what I do have, use that gratitude to fuel me towards what I envision. And I have some grand visions, and I'm gonna get it. I really am. And I have to connect with the parts of myself that bring me closer to God in order to do that, however. And I realize I let those parts go for parties. I let those parts go for forgetfulness. I let those parts go just because I was engaged in lifestyles that weren't really about me. But I'm gathering that back now because my lifestyle right now that I'm creating is about me, is about my husband, and it's about my child. So this morning was a revelation that I am grateful for because it is bringing me back to myself. It is helping me to be more present within myself. and it's helping me to let go of the stressors of trying to accomplish a to-do list of life, right? To-do lists never end. And if I'm always trying to cross things out on my to-do list, I'm going to be stressed out because they never end. However, if I create a portrait, right? If I draw a portrait of what I envision rather than make a to-do list, that portrait of what I envision becomes the creativity and the art that inspires me to keep moving forward. That makes me proud when I look at it because, wow, look at that. This is what I'm creating. This is what I have created because it's already in my mind. And thought is actually movement. Thought is a part of electricity that actually creates, right? So if I have that, if I can paint a portrait of that, then it's done. I might not be in that present moment, in that moment right now, because I'm happily in the present moment. So let me enjoy this present moment, but I'm working towards that portrait that I created. But while working towards it, I trust that I do not need to think about tomorrow. I don't need to think about 3 years from now. I need to think about right now because that portrait is set. God got me on that. I already asked him for it, and he's helping me to do it by placing what I see today in my face. And even though today all I see is a whole bunch of dishes and a whole bunch of cooking I have to do for the household, guess what? The skills I'm building and the patience I'm building from doing the work I'm doing is helping me to get to the vision. It's helping me to become the type of person that deserves that vision. And that's what God is putting here right now so that I can grow, so that I can overcome that difficulty and build my character to be able to then create, right? To be able to then live more luxuriously, to be able to then live what I see for myself. And that's life. I believe that's life. And I had a key to life. I had that optimism. It came natural to me before, which is why a lot of people looked at me and said, wow, Tia, you do this, you do that. I've always done a lot because I don't like being put in one box. I have my skills, I have my gifts and talents, and I like to extend it and, sow my seeds in a lot of places at once. I want to do everything. I want to be an artist. I want to be a DJ. I want to be a singer. I want to be a poet. I want to be a writer. I want to be a photographer. I want to be a life coach. There's so much I want to do. I want to travel the world. I want to be a student. I want to be a teacher. I want to be an educator. There's so much that I want to do in my life and that I have done in my life and I am doing in my life. However, I can be joyful in that when I remember God, when I keep my optimism. So I'm hoping that you all are seeing the parallel between optimism and trust in God, because that's truly what it has been in my life and what it is for me. Optimism is not just some random idea. Merriam-Webster does the best that it can. However, it is important that we define what things mean in our life. We define what's important in our life for ourselves, because that's when we know ourselves and we know what fuels us, and we know what is aiding and helping us to build our character and helping us to live that vision that we see. Nothing can stop us, because it's not about what other people determine about us. It's not about what other people's lifestyle is and whether or not ours compares to that. Life is about you. Life is about your family. Life is about your connection to God. Life is about your trust in the Creator and creation and what we see in the world. And you know what's really amazing? It's really amazing that we are flesh and we are blood, but so is the earth, right? What we see in the earth, what we see with the trees, what we see with the mountains, we are made of the same substance. We are a part of the same material. So if the earth can go through all of this struggle and difficulty and climate change and being destroyed and the wars that happen on it and the stinky, nasty, dirty people that are in it and the people who don't care about it or don't know how to use the earth, and it can still thrive and it can still turn on its axis and it still, for some reason, is moving forward, it's still revolving, then we can do the same thing, because we are made of the same material, but we are made better, right? We are made to actually be the stewards of this land. We are made to be the stewards of this earth. We are made to know the earth inside and out. So when we think like that, when we have that type of optimism, when we study that type of knowledge, there is nothing that can stop us. There is nothing that can break us down, and we will forever be able to envision and make it happen. And it's not just out of our own self that we're making it happen, because like I said, I've been trying to work out my own self to complete everything I want to do, and it's stressful because my mind is just like, I don't have time to do all of this stuff. I don't have time, because I don't. But when I put my optimist hat on, when I'm in my optimist bag, then I got it. It's already done. I don't need to stress out about it. I just, what do I need to do today? I gotta cook today? True. I gotta take Journey to her soccer league today? True. Let's go. Let's handle it. And I'm excited and ready for my day. Because guess what? I have shelter, I have food, I have life, I have water. Like, life is good. Life is good. So that's just my thoughts I wanted to share with you all. There will be one more podcast episode, like I said. I do hope that this episode was touching for you. I hope that we in this monologue that I've had, that something will stick with you. If it does, hit me up, titimepodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit me up at anchor.fm/titimepodcast. You can leave a sound note, feedback. You can also type and give me feedback. If you're listening on Spotify, I have a question asking you what you think of this episode. Leave your feedback there. And of course, if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, and comment. Let me know what you felt about this episode. I enjoyed making it, and I really do hope that you all have a wonderful 2023. Happy New Year, because you haven't heard my voice since before the New Year. Happy New Year to you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.